don't want your kids to have to be going through this, but if it's part of their lives, it's nice when it can be peaceful, it can be not as painful. I never imagined that both my children would be born with sickle cell disease, but here is our story. Prior to having my first child, I had 2 miscarriages. During that time, my doctor thought it would be good for me and my husband to go for genetic counseling. So we went, and when we met with the doctor, we discovered that I had the sickle cell trait and that my husband had the hemoglobin C trait. So we knew going into our 3rd pregnancy that there was a possibility, 1 in 4, that our children would have sickle cell disease. So about 5 days after I gave birth to Maddie, we got a call from our pediatrician. The results had come back from the newborn screening and determined that Maddox did, in fact, have sickle cell disease. From then, it was like a whirlwind. Our pediatrician was on it. I think we got the information on a Friday. He was trying to see if we could go see the hematologist on Saturday because he just wanted us to have all the information that we needed. But we got into the hematologist that next Monday, and we were still living in New Jersey at the time. So we saw the Children's Hospital of Philadelphia. They had an office in New Jersey. So that's where we went. And when I tell you that experience was wonderful, they were all about educating us, making sure that we had all the information that we needed to keep our child as healthy as possible. So Maddie immediately went on a prophylactic dose of antibiotics, and she took that for her first year of life. And then she had blood work done because they needed to determine the specific type of sickle cell disease she had. She ended up having SC, which typically is a milder version of sickle cell disease. It usually isn't associated with a lot of pain crisis and complications. So we praised God for that. We basically were at the hematologist almost every 2 weeks, one-on-one classes with us of all that we should expect. They weren't trying to overwhelm us, but they wanted us to know through the stages what to expect and what we need to look out for, how to spot a crisis, how to see if anything is going on with their spleen, just all of those things that we really had to pay attention to, especially when they were younger. Now, fast forward about 2 years, year and a half later, we had Jackson. We had already moved to Florida. We knew that it was a possibility. After they did his newborn screening, someone from the hematologist's office just called and left me a voicemail and said, "Oh, we just want to let you know that Jackson has sickle cell disease." And I mean, I'm happy that that's not how I found out about Maddie, because when I found out about Maddie, I was very emotional. I knew it was a possibility, but I was crying. I was just emotional because I didn't know what it meant for her life. And I wanted, you want your children to have a good life. You want them to have a healthy life. And I didn't know what this diagnosis was going to mean for her. So I was like scared and crying. But after, a year and a half of navigating it with Maddie, I was in a better place. When we found out about Jackson, I was just like, okay, we know what to do. We got this. I do wish that they would have called and actually spoke to me on the phone and not left me a voicemail, but that's neither here nor there. Maddox is going to be 7. So she's probably had 6 years of treatment here in Florida. And our experience really has been so positive. The doctors, the nurses, they all get to know our children because we're in there regularly. It just makes it a more peaceful experience. They know your children. They get to know how they respond and react. We get to see our kids grow and do better. Every time you go to the hematologist, they're drawing blood because they need to check the kids' levels. Well, early on, Maddie had such a hard time with that. So it would take me, Max, and a nurse to draw her blood. Now, I did a video about this recently. It was just me and both the kids going to the hematologist this last time. And Maddie just stood there and she was talking them through the process. And she's like, okay, you got to clean my arm. They cleaned it. They drew the blood. She didn't. She said, oh, a little pinch. And that was it. It was so good to see her progress.